welcome to a crossover
Welcome,
episode of
everyone. Woo!
yeah. Today we're sitting down with each other, even Michelle and me, and we are having a crossover episode
The
of the
Fearless
Fearless Artist
Accordion
Mastermind,
Podcast. Yeah.
uh, the Modern Musician's Survival Guide
Oh,
podcast, the new one.
right.
The new one,
Apologies.
yes.
The Fearless Modern
No,
Musician.
no worries.
We could call it that. Today's crossover episode,
A
everybody.
crossover.
Welcome to the Fearless Modern Musician Podcast with Ghenadie, my good friend and fellow conference goer. The only time we ever hang out is at conferences.
Yeah, lately it's like that.
Okay, for everyone who's only on the audio, first of all, if you're listening to this, please go over to YouTube and watch the episode on YouTube. Drop us a comment there that says Fearless Modern Musician. Ghenadie, what are you wearing on your t-shirt for everybody who's going to go check it out on YouTube?
Look, it's a T-shirt that a pupil gave me, and I love it because it's like, the 4 Bs of music. I find it very witty. I find it fun. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to wear it for today for us to talk. And especially the last one, be quiet.
I love it.
How many times we musicians and teachers think about that? Like, be quiet, please. Just,
Yeah. So it says B sharp, B natural, B flat, and B quiet. Love that. And they're all Bs with accidentals. Very cool. So, Ghenadie, we got to hang out this year at Classical Next in Budapest, and it was awesome to see you. And you were, as always, extremely prepared, and you had your game plan for how to crush the conference. So, I wanted to have you on to hear about your time there, your reflections, and of course, we're just gonna have a great conversation today. So, thanks for being here with me, and for agreeing to do a joint episode on your podcast as well. And everyone listening, please do check out the Fearless Modern Musician podcast with Ghenadie.
Same goes for my listeners. Check out Michelle's podcast if you don't know it, and I will link this in the description of the episode. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great pleasure to be talking to you again, also because at the conference we bumped into each other a couple of times, but so much was happening as always, and it's not like we can actually really, get into it and discuss what we took from it. It was funny because you kept on saying to everyone, "Oh, this is Ghenadie. He's coming on my podcast." I was like, "Michelle, I mean, you asked me. I don't remember agreeing to be on the podcast. Of course, I'm doing it with great pleasure. But I was like, okay, so that's how it works.
Yeah.
That's how Michelle gets you in the podcast."
I kind of just told you, like, you're coming on. I like to volunteer people, but you just tell them, like, you're coming on. Anyway, no, thank you for agreeing. if you did agree, I don't know. Yeah. So what stuck out to me about you this year was that you came in with a plan of who you wanted to meet, and I think it's so interesting for our listeners. When you go to a conference, for everyone listening, there was, I don't know, 1,500 people there this year. So I think it's
a lot.
Yeah, a lot. So it's really important if you want to be strategic about meeting all these people in the industry. There's a lot of big names there. There's a lot of people from all over the world. You had a list. Maybe you can just explain your strategy and how it worked for you.
Well, I mean, the list was open to everyone. We had like this, everyone who attended, there was a list of attendees, which included presenters, managers, labels, whatever, people that were there. And I usually work with a CRM platform, which is, for those who don't know, CRM stands for Client Relationship Manager, which is basically a database of contacts that, you're kind of working with, or it can also be fans and so on. So I was thinking, okay, I saw this list and it was at least 600 people from those between presenters and musicians that I could potentially meet, that could bring me value in achieving my goals. And I thought, I cannot go through all of that list and research every single one. It was just too much work, and I would just get maybe through half if I managed, And then I started playing around a bit with different AI tools, and basically in the end, what happened is I came up with this Notion AI system, which is basically a database in which I've put name, surname, organization, whether I want to meet the person. So is it I must meet this person? Is it kind of would be nice if I bump into this person? And then, let's say, more opportunistic, not in a negative way, but if it happens, cool. If it doesn't happen, fine. So I went through the list, and kind of the rule was, don't spend more than 15 seconds understanding if this person is interesting for you. And I started to put in the names, and then I think in the end, I ended up with 150 names, more or less.
Wow.
And then I focused on the 15 that I really wanted to meet.
Okay.
So yeah, in that Notion AI system, basically, I've put these priorities and what would be nice, and then I kind of was working on the contacts that I really must meet,
Yeah.
and then the other ones which were like, okay, cool. And every single time I met someone, I would go a couple of minutes into that system and I would put in notes, what we talked about, whether it makes sense to send a follow-up, what's interesting for that particular festival, what they're looking for, and yeah, so I kind of gathered these things. And after the conference, I sat down, perfected it a bit, and now it's a template which is available for
99
everyone.
euros.
No, it's only 9
okay.
euros.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so smart.
So yeah, if anyone wants to kind of look into it, I will link in the description of the episode, and Michelle, I will send you the link as well.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and then it was just creating opportunities and occasions to meet those people. So yeah, that was kind of my plan, and I must admit, I actually managed to meet everyone on my must meet list because I prioritized heavily that thing.
Yeah.
And there are different, things that I use, strategies that I use, like befriend them on Facebook or maybe reach out to them on LinkedIn before. And yeah, so that's one of the things. What stood out to you, Michelle, this year?
Wait, can I just unpack some of this that you've just shared? Because this is fascinating. And
absolutely,
I think
yes.
It is so smart what you did to go through the list, because you're right. Not only are there hundreds of people at this conference, but there are events happening every 30 minutes to an hour, different talks, different presentations, concerts. So ideally you want to attend everything, but there's like 4 things happening at once in different rooms. So not only are you struggling to choose which event to attend, but you're also trying to meet people. So I think that what you did was so smart. And I just wanted to ask you, compared to Berlin, 1 year prior, did you notice a difference in I don't want to say result, but like relationship building? Did it work for you? Like, how was the experience comparatively?
Well, I didn't know what I was walking into Berlin when I was there for the first time, so I had kind of no idea. Plus, Berlin was much bigger.
Yeah.
I think I came away from Berlin with a potential collaboration and a few people that I'm still in touch with. Nothing particularly exciting in terms of opportunities, but this time I might say, more precise, almost surgical in my approach, because I would see that people, and then I would even. That might sound weird, kind of like stalking, but in a way that's normal, I believe, in those kinds of conferences. But I would look at the photo of a person that I want to meet, and I would kind of search for that person, and we're standing next to the queue for coffee. You know what? I want a coffee, and I would just come up to them and start talking. And yeah, I messaged you on LinkedIn. How are you finding the conference? And that allowed me to actually focus on what mattered to me.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I stayed flexible, not saying, oh my God, I didn't meet this person, I need to find them, because that it's kind of desperation, and people feel that. They're like, wait,
right.
But yeah, I think it's kind of like I applied this Pareto principle, which is focus on the 20% that will bring you 80% of a result. And I must say, I was pretty happy with the results. So
yeah,
all in all, I'm pretty satisfied with how it went.
Good for you. No, I think that's really cool. We also did. So I came with my team. I had my two girls who work for the Fearless Artist with me. And because I was presenting, they were helping me out with a lot of practicalities, also helping me prepare my slides, etc., handing out merch. So we all had our QR codes as the screen on our phones, which I learned from I found this really cool Instagram reel just days before the conference. And it was talking about how to walk into a conference prepared. And one of the things she was saying was, I've read the list in advance of people and I've searched them on social media, LinkedIn, and I have figured out who I want to approach, just like you did. Another one was, I've practiced my elevator speech and I've got it down to 20 seconds. So all of us on our team, we had it like spitfire, who we are, what we do, who we're with. And then we had the lock screens on our phones, the QR of our Instagram. And this was fun because like we just felt really cool. We were like, look at our lock screen. This is how you can follow us. And because we were three, it was just trying to spread the brand of the Fearless Artist. And another really important strategy for anyone listening is that we every single story that Classical Next posted, we would go to that person's account and like the last 5 posts. So everyone was opening their phone and seeing our name 5 times. So by the end of it, they're like, oh yeah, the Fearless Artist, I've heard of you. Yeah, you heard of us because we went on your page and we liked everything. So you would be like, oh, who are these people? So that was a really good strategy. We also searched people who were tagging by location, and we would make sure that we had gone through their profile and like either left a comment or liked 3 posts. And then the hashtags. And not so many people were using hashtags, but definitely anything that was reshared on the stories by Classical Next, we were on top of that. And so then people recognize your face and they recognize your brand and they start to see, we had notebooks, we had pens, we had stickers, we had all the stuff. So we were handing things out and just trying to get as much visibility as possible, I think, in this situation.
You came to conquer.
Yeah.
Basically, you came to Budapest to conquer. Because when I saw you and your team, I was like, so that's how Michelle is everywhere at the same time.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I presented and somebody asked me, like, how are you doing so many things? And I was like, girls, can you just give a wave? And both Puck and Constantina waved from the back of the cinema where they were sitting. So yeah, I mean, we had a really good team vibe.
Nice. No, that's really great when you are coming with such preparation and also people, as a brand, because otherwise it's like, if you don't, somebody says something else, it's not consistent in a way. May I give you 2 more fun ones, analog ones, not digital, networking
I gotta
things,
know it.
but
Let's hear it.
So, okay, the first one is I heard it somewhere on a podcast and I was like, okay, that makes sense. So, one of the things, which I believe is quite smart when you think about it, one of the things is hold your drinking glass or beer or whatever you have in your left hand, because then when you shake somebody's hand, it's not, falling glasses or also the impression of a wet hand or a cold hand.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because that first impression stays, with a person. So if you're holding in your left hand, your right hand is free to shake people's hands. Second thing that I did, and it actually started a couple of conversations, which I was really proud of. I remember it was a friend of mine who gave me this advice when it came to, he was talking about kind of meeting women on the street.
Okay.
But I was like, you know what? You could actually apply this to this situation. So I bought a lighter and I had it in my pocket. I don't smoke, but when I saw somebody looking for a lighter and couldn't find it, I approached and I had the lighter.
Wow.
And that opened 2 conversations with one label manager and with one artistic director of a festival.
Oh, that is smart.
It's just one of those random things. Maybe somebody doesn't even ask that, but if you're prepared for these kinds of situations, you're like, okay. So, I mean, they seem pretty dumb, but
no,
they work.
Not at all. Great tips. I mean, I think anything to break the ice is crucial. So just even being able to know how to walk up to someone, if they're in the middle of a conversation talking to someone else, how to not stand there awkwardly and like wait your turn, but to kind of join the conversation. I know the science of people, I think her name's Vanessa something. She has a lot of great people tips and personality skills. She has a YouTube channel that I learned a lot from. Also, body language, knowing what to say, making small talk at these events, not asking yes or no answer questions, but learning how to ask open-ended questions, especially for someone that you might be intimidated by. And I would ask that to you. How do you approach someone that you may feel a little intimidated by, whether they're a big name or big label, etc.?
Well, that's an interesting question. because normally I don't get intimidated by that.
Okay.
We're all in the same situation, we're there. And it's not like it comes back to the mindset probably, because it's not me begging or asking something or begging for their attention or please consider me.
Mm-hmm.
It's we're on par. And I've done a solo episode recently about 7 small ways that you can get better at networking.
Okay.
And I believe one of the most important things for me, at least that works, is being interested. Like coming up to them and not selling myself and not trying to act interesting and be, oh my god, now I need to be appealing and interesting to this person. No, make it about them. Ask them,
Yeah.
like, what are you interested in? How are you seeing your industry develop? What is happening in the recording world, whatever, or the festival. I actually had this situation with I wanted to meet I believe, the artistic director of a Concerthaus Dortmund. And I went up to him and I asked, yeah, I would be interested, to know what you're working on, what are you looking for. And he had this kind of, well, not an annoyed expression, but you could see that he was approached at least by 50 people to pitch him something that day,
Yeah.
And I think it caught him by surprise that I asked him, like, what are you interested in? What are you looking for? What is the focus of your, next year, the next season?
Mm-hmm.
And then he, just openly told me what they were looking for. I understood that it wasn't a fit for me because they're focused on superstars of the classical music. And he seemed kind of disappointed that he couldn't give me a better answer. And I was like, thank you. That's very valuable, actually, because for me, it makes me not lose time on something that I have absolutely no access to.
Right.
Right. So, yeah, in that situation, I believe like I handled it pretty well in a way. One big thing for me is, okay, conversation starters, because I'm an introvert and, it's kind of weird. I prepared myself some questions, because you are more extroverted. You kind of when you come up to a person, you're friends in like 5 seconds, and I admire you for that, but I'm not that kind of person. So I prepared a couple of openers for conversations, and one other big thing that I learned this time, and I was debating that with different AI models, and basically for me, I notice often that, for example, I'm talking to someone, and then at one point the conversation kind of stops, and then I'm absolutely comfortable to stay or to sit in silence. Many people are not. And in those situations, I feel that there nervousness, awkwardness, or whatever. And this time I learned when it was time, when the energy of the conversation went down, I moved on from that conversation at the peak or slightly below the peak of the energy. So that impression of a conversation stayed. And, it's just great to meet you, great to talk to you. I need to run there.
Okay.
Or,
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, that was a big takeaway, like what I've learned about myself.
Good for you. I think that's extremely good preparation to have conversation openers. You know who you're approaching, asking them something about themselves. Always, that's also my strategy, is to ask a question about them, and just be curious, show interest, because then they can share what they're interested about, and it gives you information to then ask them a more interesting question as a follow up. Okay, so who or
May I ask you one thing?
Yeah, please.
Before we move on, about your elevator pitch. Because of course, you have a few seconds to introduce yourself, say something. How do you keep it? So I don't want to say casual, but how do you keep it fresh? Because when you rehearse something for so long, it might seem a bit automatic.
Yeah.
Something like rehearsed or learned. How do you keep it, human, as if you're like, I'm doing this and this and this?
So I would think the answer is tone. If your tone is casual, then when you use different inflections or different energy. So it's like, hey, I'm Michelle Lynn. I'm with the Fearless Artist Mastermind. We do professional development for classical musicians. And then bite your tongue and shut up. Like there's no filling in and no rambling. I've had to work on that a lot. Yeah, be quiet. Exactly. But that is a very strong introduction when your sentence ends. And it ends with a downward inflection and it ends in authority. And these are things that you have to practice. And I trained my girls also. I had them practice introducing themselves and no rambling and what is your role, and social media content creator, and that's it. Not all these other possibilities. Making sure you say the fearless artist as many times as possible. So keeping it fresh, I think, is about how I look at them in the eyes, my inflection, and my tone more than the actual words that I'm saying, because then I can alter it based on the
Mm-hmm.
energy of that interaction. So I wanted to ask you who or what made an impression on you and why?
You mean for the conferences or in general?
Yeah, a person or maybe a presentation that you heard. I know a lot of us were impacted by that keynote speech, Yvonne Fisher's keynote. It was a little bit of a downer. I heard a lot of
You
mixed
think
reviews
so?
about that.
No.
Well, no? Okay, okay. I heard mixed opinions about it.
Yeah, I mean, he talked to a full room that are employed in the industry. Like
Mm.
the idea of suddenly not having a job is not very appealing,
Mhm.
you know. So of course, I mean, there is some truth to what he was saying
Mhm.
overall, and I don't want to be controversial or anything. I'll just be diplomatic. Um, the thing is, we artists, we musicians, were kind of working on many things. We're exploring many areas of interest for us. And from what I hear from the, let's say, industry leaders, presenters, organizers, they're saying, guys, we need you. We need your help to bring audiences, bring new audiences,
Yeah.
make it interesting, work on that. At the same time, what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is that their risk tolerance to new things doesn't match what they are saying what they want.
Mm.
So that's a kind of friction
Mhm.
point for me in a way. Not that it's necessarily good or bad. It's just it's the way it is. And I mean, we musicians can come up with so many creative and big projects. The only problem, if money were no problem, or if uh, the fear of losing potential revenue or potential concert
Donors.
goers,
Yeah.
yeah, wouldn't be there. I mean, we would put on so many different concerts, shows. Um, yeah, I mean, like that's kind of one of the things that stood out to me. And for those who don't know what Ivan Fisher was talking about, I believe there's also the video
Yeah, it is on
on
YouTube.
YouTube
Yeah,
of
exactly.
yeah. So we will link this, at least I will link this in the description of the episode so that listeners can go and hear what he was talking about. Basically, the main idea is if we don't change the way that we engage audiences, educate the audiences to understand what is happening on the stage, we will die out, and none of the brilliant marketing solutions that are employed will save this in the long term. It might help boost it in the short term. In the long term, I believe, yeah, that can bring not the downfall of the industry. I wouldn't say that, but still, like less and less people caring
Yeah,
actually
I mean, he called
about
us
going to
dinosaurs. He
concerts.
was quite severe, I think, with the way that he delivered. So I think that's why he pushed a lot of buttons.
Well, I think, well, he said, I feel like a dinosaur. He didn't say we are all dinosaurs, we will all die out. I mean, he said, at least that's what I remember. Yeah, I mean, he expressed an absolutely um, logical conclusion in a way. And at the same time, what stayed with me was his answer to an audience question,
Mm-hmm.
because someone from the audience asked, so what can we do? Can we go to the ministry and, I don't know, do a program together that can be employed through the ministry? And he said, no, they will not do that. And I believe the thing is, the incentives are different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What at the moment brings more money? The incentive is always economical, financial. What brings more money? I'm seeing, for example, with all of this AI craze, I'm kind of following also, as I used to play video games a lot, now a bit less. But for example, now the new generation of consoles are struggling because all the chips and all of the hardware is going towards AI data centers.
Oh.
So, when all of the incentive of the money is to give to a certain area,
Mm-hmm.
And it's visible because you can see the return on that investment. They give something and they see the projections. You cannot see the real projections immediately in arts. Although there are news, for example, I believe in Ireland, they introduced a universal basic income for musicians and for artists in general, because they calculated in a pilot project in 4 years that basically every single euro or dollar they spend on artists and musicians, it brings 2.7 back or something like that.
Okay. Yes.
So it is there. The
Yeah.
growth is there. It's just not immediately visible, and it's not hyped as other areas. So I believe it's we who need to find a way to engage our audiences and take them on a journey with us, so that they see we need to make them understand why it's important for them, in my opinion.
Yes.
So, and that's, I believe, the main idea of Ivan Fisher.
Yeah. Okay.
What are your thoughts? What did you hear? What do you think?
From that speech? I mean, well, what stuck with me was that he was saying that the solution was education. And then I had a couple conversations with people after where they were saying education is not necessary to make people appreciate classical music. So that was interesting because, of course, the school systems have had the funding taken out of music classes. Music education is being stripped everywhere. So his argument was, if you want to educate your next generation of audiences, we need to get focus back on education. And the people I was chatting with after were saying that's not necessary to make people appreciate classical music in the same way that I can go to a museum and not be educated in the sense of I've taken art history class, and I can still appreciate a day at the museum enjoying art in general. You don't need to have this really high education, specialty education to be able to appreciate classical music. Music is for everyone. It's an experience. It connects us. It's an atmosphere. It brings people together, and that should be the basic. It doesn't have to be that you understand the phrasing and the form and the history in order to be able to attend or enjoy a classical music concert. So that was just a few of the ideas being flown around.
Interesting, because I don't believe he was talking about that.
Okay.
Not at all. He didn't say that everyone needs to. At least that's not what I heard. But I believe that I think he was intentionally provocatory.
Yeah, I
in
agree.
his speech.
I agree.
And I believe that many people were triggered by their own experiences and many things.
Sure.
Because to me, I mean, yeah, I don't need an arts and culture education to go and enjoy a museum. However, it would be nice to at least know in what period some of the styles were done. What am I looking at?
Yeah. Well, I think any musician would argue that the basic music education should be offered in schools, which is, depending on where you're from, no longer.
Yeah, but if the schools don't offer them, probably the institutions need to start thinking about that and engaging young people more.
Yeah, a lot of orchestra outreach programs were talked about at the conference. A lot of different projects about how to bring in community. Did you see a particular presentation lecture that stuck with you?
Let me think. I actually missed a lot of them because I was searching for the people I wanted to connect with.
The top 15. I must find you.
Yeah, no, but right. One that stood out to me, it was basically actually two of them. So one was a presentation about what the institutions are focusing on right now. And basically I actually wrote a LinkedIn post about it. And the priority of performing arts organizations, what are they thinking about? And basically the audience education or audience development was on the last place, on the third place. The first thing, I believe, if I don't remember correctly, I hope I remember correctly, I think the first thing was new formats. The second thing was marketing. And the third thing was audience development, which to me, it needs to be the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Audience development, concerts, marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because without a quality product, marketing can go until a certain point. It cannot save everything.
Right.
So yeah, that was one. And the second one was a conversation about streaming royalties and more fair streaming royalties.
I missed that. I should have been there.
Especially for classical musicians. But I reached out to the guy who is working, I believe, on the someone in the organization of the European Council of Conservatories, and I invited him on the podcast. Hopefully that will happen in autumn. And it was basically a conversation about how to get a fair pay out of streaming. And there was a representative of, I don't remember which orchestra in Germany, and basically she was telling me that they are not seeing a single cent from the royalties, and they recorded many CDs for big labels like Decca, Sony, and so on. And even a superstar pianist like Igor Levit came to record a CD with them, and the label wanted to cut completely the name of the orchestra out. And I was like, wow, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because they played there, people were there, they worked there, you hear them, and they're not being paid anything.
Yeah.
Of course, if you're thinking about, earning money with streaming, it depends. I know very successful people in that regard that have an amazing strategy. They're releasing music every single week. But for me, releasing music online is not about making money. It's more about being present and being heard and being discovered by audiences all over the world that cannot come to my concerts. So, yeah. How are you thinking about that side? Because you're also releasing a lot of music online. I see your releases on Spotify as I am following you there. And what is your strategy? What are your thoughts behind that?
It's a good question. I mean, as you were speaking, I was reflecting on my own streams and the different strategies I've tried. I've paid for playlist promotion, which was helpful in that I got thousands of streams, but that doesn't translate to the money that I invested into the playlisting. So, and I know that the monthly listener number is semi-important. I don't know exactly. The problem for me is that you never really know who's looking, who's paying attention, and how much it matters to them, because everyone kind of has a different metric for importance of, should I book this artist? Mm-hmm. So I did have my monthly listeners up to 20K because of various strategies. And then I stopped doing that, and it just dropped suddenly to 2,000. I was like, well, I can't keep pouring money into this when I'm not sure what the results in the ROI are. So that's been kind of frustrating because I don't know where to put the majority of my attention and energy. Sometimes I've been trying to like hit every nail on the head and put a little bit of energy in each direction and see. But yeah, I was releasing weekly singles for a while, but unless I promote them myself, the Spotify itself is not picking it up or promoting it. I really have to use my Instagram following and my newsletter list to get people to go listen. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with Spotify, and it's also kind of dangerous to have this sudden spike in streams, mm-hmm. because they can label, like flag it, right, as something suspicious and actually take down your entire profile.
Right, exactly.
So you need to be careful about those kinds of things. And I believe, like, going back to what we were saying about the 20% and the 80%, when you're trying, I believe, like, to go and do all the right things, quote unquote, right? Maybe it's this, we're focusing on the 80% mm-hmm. instead of the 20%, which the 20% should be, what, I'm releasing it because whatever, I'm releasing.
Well, what you said, you want to be discovered by people around the world who can't come to your concerts. That's an excellent reason.
Yeah, I believe that's kind of the only reason right now, because financially, I believe making an album or recording music, it's just, maybe long term you might get the money back, but it's not, it's a net loss Let's just put it like that.
Right.
If you're releasing music, in my opinion. Then again, I know people, kind of semi-personally, that have millions of streams every month, and they're making it work.
Yeah.
In that case, maybe the algorithm picked it up and just is showing it everywhere. Of course, there's a certain type of music, and you need to be kind of on the trend, what kind of music people are listening to. So if you want to record, I don't know, Brahms or whatever, don't expect millions of listeners.
Mm-hmm.
At least not if you have a YouTube channel that has like hundreds of thousands of listeners.
Right.
So yeah.
Did you hear any concerts that week that really stuck with you? I know I was very impressed at the level of performances. It was extremely inspiring. I heard the North Sea String Quartet. They're the ones who wear the science.
I missed that.
Yeah, it was so powerful. I mean, I was even emotional. I think it was just like the whole conference was just a big kind of adrenaline high, and then to sit with them and to watch what they were doing, they're just very high level. It was cool. It was a very good experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me it was the opening concert.
Yes, also
with Barnabas Kelemen, the violinist, but everyone was amazing. But the violinist was especially impressive and played with such ease and with such energy and with such joy on stage. But I thought he played the Romanian dances with cymbalum.
Yeah,
like
that was
this
so
Eastern
cool.
European.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was thinking, like, we're talking about innovation, and as someone who is specialized in contemporary music and working with composers all the time and new music and premiering works, not to brag, but the thing is, what I saw in the mainstream as innovation is kind of 15, 20 years behind of where we are in the new music scene, in my experience. And when I heard them, I was like, you know what? We don't need new formats. We don't need. I saw a showcase which was super impressive. It was circus with classical music and playing the violin while standing on top of a person. I was like, great, but how many times can you reproduce that? How many times can you do that? It's spectacular. But to me, the risk is becoming a bit like it was a problem with social media and YouTube before, because if you did something crazy and you got a viral, out like reach, you would need to keep doing even more crazy stuff so that people keep on coming back to see what you're doing. And when I heard them, I was like, they didn't do anything new, quote unquote. They just played with amazing energy, something that is a repertoire piece, basically violin and piano. They just added a different instrument, like changed the instrument, which added a bit of color, and then they played at an extraordinary level, a repertoire piece. That for me was innovation. That for me was new, and you don't have to invent stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, at least, that's my take. Of course, I also heard some showcases later in the evening at the jazz club, and some of them were really, really great. So, yeah, I mean, I believe the level of musicianship that we have is not the problem, and it's really amazing to see so many people doing so many things.
No, that performance stayed with me for a while, and I also saw Rachel Fenlon. She's a Canadian, and she sings and plays at the same time. And they were premiering a piece that she had commissioned, and she sings as well. It was so cool. They also had a visual backdrop, and I thought it was very tastefully done, and it was very immersive. And so when we talk about innovation, I think it's that kind of multimedia, multiple instruments. It's more about the experience of the concert. It's a show more than just, pianist, music, play, get off stage. It's this immersive kind of the audience. I was so captivated by her. I was very, very impressed. So that for me made a mark.
Yeah, you need to make people feel something. That's them understanding why they should care and why they should go. And increasingly so, I believe, in the age of AI, people will need connection to one another. With people people connection.
And that's what our good friend Bernhard Kara says in Vienna. Yeah, in the age of AI, we need human connection more than ever.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I was speaking also, I had the guest, he was the second guest. He was the CEO of AI Institute Deutschland, who is working with the Berliner Philharmonic and United Nations on implementing AI in their workflows. And actually, he was saying, you musicians are probably better equipped for the age of AI because you make people feel something, you make people experience something, and also this, connecting people in a unique space, just to experience stuff together. So, yeah.
So I have a couple fun questions for you to kind of wrap up this episode.
Let's go ahead.
Okay, we're going to play this or that really fast. This or that.
Ooh, okay.
Opera or orchestra?
Orchestra.
Management or self-management?
Self-management.
Of course, the modern musician. Instagram or LinkedIn?
Depends.
Okay.
Really depends on what your goals are.
Okay. I think I know.
I would go with LinkedIn.
What?
Honestly.
Okay. Airport lounge or hotel breakfast? Come on, Ghenadie. 2 seconds.
Airport lounge.
Airport lounge.
Yeah,
okay.
Because
standing ovation.
Depends on the hotel. 5-star.
You can't keep saying depends. Standing ovation or glowing review?
Glowing review.
Practice 8 hours or network 8 hours?
None. Can I say that? Probably practice. Yeah.
Win a competition or go viral?
Oof, tough choices, Michelle. Where did you find these? Win a competition.
Okay, nice. Okay, finish the sentence. The classical music industry would be so much better
if they were more risk tolerant and more adventurous.
Nobody talks enough about
the value of LinkedIn for musicians.
That's good. Every musician secretly
has other passions that they don't feel comfortable talking about.
Ooh. I knew I'd made it when
a person comes up to me and sincerely says that was a great experience and I touched them somehow with the music that I did or with the work that I did in the coaching space.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, 2 more. My biggest career mistake was
thinking, believing, hoping that at some point I would need management to achieve my career goals as a performing musician.
And that's not true.
I increasingly believe no. And I actually was told by some managers that I don't need them.
All right.
I might need an assistant, but I might not need management.
Amen to assistance. Okay, last one. Success actually looks like
whatever brings value to you.
So good. Bravo, Ghenadie. Let's get a round of applause.
Great now answers. I would like to ask you the same questions, but I don't have them. So I'll ask the quick fire round.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Questions that I use for my podcast. So, Michelle, the first question. What is one thing about being a musician that you had to unlearn?
That audiences don't need you to play perfectly to be touched by what you're doing.
That's a good one. Also, it's one of the themes that you are all the time talking about, perfectionism and killing it.
Yeah.
Great. So that's the second question. What is the best career advice you've ever received?
You need to have something to say.
Let's elaborate on that in terms of what.
I thought this was rapid fire, Ghenadie. Come on, rapid fire.
No. I mean, the question is rapid fire and the answer, but we can dig deep.
So it was at a competition and it was after I played and he's like, you need to know that you have something to say, like walk out there, be confident. So I think career advice is that, you show up into a room, you walk in with your authority, you've got your thoughts collected, you're there to learn, you're there to serve, but you also know that you have something to contribute. And by doing so, you're going to connect with other people who are at a higher level than you. And that's how you want to surround yourself with is people who are better than you.
I would be careful with the word better, but yeah.
Sure. Better meaning high standards, high excellence. Surround yourself with greatness.
Yeah. What was the worst career advice that you've ever received?
I don't know if I received it. What did I receive personally? The worst career advice. I don't know. Somebody once said my hair looked messy on stage, but maybe that wasn't bad advice. I don't know. Worst career advice. I wanted to say to focus, I guess, just that you can't do too many different things. Because now I'm successfully doing multiple things, and I know that it's part of my overall career strategy, purpose, fulfillment. So it is good that I'm in multiple hats, wearing multiple hats. So yeah, worst career advice would be like pick one and focus.
Yeah,
Although you still do need focus.
Yeah, absolutely. But I believe like that's one of the things that I'm still looking for answers for, because I'm not convinced that you need to be labeled in a way as the one that does that one thing. But maybe it's just me. And fourth question: what is one mistake you see musicians do repeatedly? And please don't say not posting on Instagram. Say something else. Say something else.
Oh man, I'm being censored. Everybody being censored. No, mistakes. I think. Well, I mean, I talk about this a lot too. Musicians say no to themselves before someone else says no to them. Musicians disqualify themselves all the time. They say,
that's a good one.
Who am I to do this? Who am I to play that concert? Who am I to send this pitch? Who am I to email that person and ask to be on their podcast? And it's like, well, you are someone, and you are saying no before they even say no. So stop it. Just like send the thing and let the cards fall where they do. But yeah. I mean, you got to ask.
Worse, why should they? You're like, why are you deciding for someone else?
Exactly. Like the audacity, we need to have it. I have two friends, and they're on this audacity tour, they're calling it. What they're doing is that they're pitching venues that are like seemingly above their current capacity, let's say. And so you need this mindset of like, why would any door be closed to me unless I've actually tried knocking multiple times, right? Like, yeah, I think that's a great thing.
Yeah. True. Yeah. I think I'll have you back on the podcast, or maybe your friends, to discuss about that, because there are definitely some places that I believe, just like in the Olympics, before you actually go and run the 100 meters, you kind of need to arrive there to prepare, in my opinion. So the last question: is there something that you do to stay consistent and or grounded?
Yes, consistent. I track things, and I have a team. So we have weekly meetings where we go through our KPIs. I track my practicing hours. I use Clockify. I audit my time. Grounded, I would say, spiritually. I have a church community. I hang out with non-musicians, and I introduce myself like a very, just like a normal person. I don't, I don't mention like because it's, how do I say that? Sometimes people meet me and they've seen my Instagram stuff, and they've seen like the tours and the concerts and the dresses and the glam side of me. And it's like, whoa, Michelle. And then sometimes I'm like walking down the street and I'm in my gym clothes with my dog. And then I'm just like the girl next door. So I think that keeps me grounded, that I have two sides, and I stay very connected to who I am.
Great. Thanks. Well, Michelle, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably continue this tradition once per year to have our debrief and conversation.
Well,
and just.
Are you going to go to Ghenadie?
I'm thinking about it. I'm still not sure, but I'm considering going there also because I have a lot of Polish accordion friends.
Cool.
So yeah, I think I might combine just visiting and enjoying my time with the people that I know, with the more business side of being a musician.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I want to go just for the food.
What about you?
Yeah. I haven't confirmed anything, but we do have the dates blocked just to make sure that we've got that in our mind.
I remember when we saw each other in Budapest, like, why didn't you tell me that you are coming? Because, like, first of all, I didn't know myself. Second of all, we're kind of like busy with everything. So I like, I saw that you were there and will be presenting, and when I saw you with your entire team, I was like, okay, Michelle leveled up this year. She's there with the entire like set and branding and like, yeah.
I'm like, Ghenadie, don't you know we're best friends? Why didn't you tell me your schedule? That's kind of how I treat you when I see you. But it's true. I do appreciate knowing when I'm going to get to see you in person, because it's always a lot of fun. So thanks for hanging out today on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the interesting chat. I'll put all of the links of what we discussed in the description of the episode of the Modern Musician Survival Guide podcast. guys, listeners on my podcast, check out Michelle's podcast, The Fearless Artist Mastermind. There's a lot of great stuff, great content. I'm listening to, I believe, almost every single episode.
Oh.
I think I've listened to all of them.
Wow,
so,
thank you.
Great job.
Thank you so much. All right, everybody, be fearless, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.